isn't just a style. It's a statement of freedom, of strength, and of finally becoming who you were meant to be. Eleanor had been growing her hair for over 40 years. It was long silver grey and always perfectly tied back. It wasn't just hair, it was comfort, familiarity, maybe even a kind of armor. She walked into my salon on a quiet October afternoon, carrying the weight of something unspoken. She sat down in the chair, looked at me through the mirror and said, "I think it's time." No further explanation, no hesitation. She wasn't here for a trim. She was here for a transformation. We cut it all off. She walked out with a sharp, textured, pixie bold, modern, effortless. And as the light hit her face, she paused, looked at herself in the window, and turned to me with the softest smile. Now, I finally recognized myself. That moment still gives me chills. Over the years, I've worked with thousands of women, some famous, some quiet and gentle, some full of fire. But the truth I've learned is this: hair is never just hair. It's identity. It's memory. It's the silent language women use when they're ready to say something words can't quite express. Sometimes it's heartbreak that leads them to change. Other times it's healing. But often it's this quiet realization that they don't want to live by other people's expectations anymore, not their partners, not their families, not societies. Because at 60, 65, 70, you're no longer trying to prove anything. You're trying to feel free. Short hair, especially at this stage of life, is more than a trend. It's a shift from who you were told to be to who you choose to be. At 20, you style your hair to fit in. At 30, to feel appropriate for work or motherhood. At 40, maybe, to hide the grey, or the tiredness, or the things you've given up. But at 60, you wear your hair however the hell you want, because you've earned that freedom. And you're no longer afraid to take up space. In this video or article podcast, we'll explore the most empowering and modern short hairstyles for women over 60, and how they reflect different personalities, not just face shapes. Real-life stories of women who completely changed how they felt about themselves by changing their hair. And most importantly, what it really means to feel beautiful and confident, not despite your age, but because of it. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you changed your hair? Because you wanted to, not because someone else thought you should. When was the last time you looked in the mirror and saw someone you actually liked? Looking back, maybe today's not the day you book a salon appointment. But maybe today's the day you start thinking differently about your hair and what it says about you. Now let's begin with Chapter 1. Short hair, bold spirit. It's not a trend. It's a personal declaration. A journey into why cutting your hair might just be the most powerful thing you do for yourself. Some changes may seem small at first, but they can completely transform how we see ourselves. For me, cutting my hair short after turning 60 was one of those pivotal moments. It wasn't about looking younger or even refreshing my appearance. It was about stripping away what no longer felt like me, and finally seeing my true self in the mirror. And I'm not alone. More and more women over 60 are embracing short hair not because it's trendy, but because it's liberating. It's a quiet but bold statement. I'm no longer living for someone else's approval. I'm showing up for me. Why are so many women choosing short hair? After 60, it's practical, effortless and fresh. Let's be honest, at a certain age, our priorities shift. We've got better things to do than spend an hour each morning curling or blow-drying our hair. Short hair makes life easier, plain and simple. It's light. It's low maintenance. It works with thinning strands which are common as we age due to hormones and health shifts. A 2021 AARP survey found that 67% of women over 60 chose short hair for comfort and simplicity. And you know what? They didn't feel less feminine. They felt more free. My own story, I still remember the first time I looked at myself with a pixie cut after years of wearing my hair halfway down my back. I expected to feel exposed. But what I actually felt was relief, as if the woman I'd been hiding had finally stepped out into the light. Ask yourself, have you ever felt like your long hair was weighing you down physically or emotionally? Have you ever whispered to yourself, maybe one day I'll cut it all off? Just for me. It's not about chasing youth. It's about claiming style. Short hair doesn't make you look younger, but it does make you look modern, intentional, confident. It's not about clinging to youth. It's about standing strong in your own sense of style. Dame Helen Mirren once said in an interview, "I don't try to look 40. But I certainly don't let my age define what I can look like either." And that's the point. A sharp cut, a bold color, a clean silhouette. These choices are for you, not your kids, not your spouse, not society. One client of mine, Teresa, 68, had worn a tidy low bun for decades. The day she walked out with a sleek modern bob, she came back a week later and said, "For the first time in years, I felt seen. Not as someone's grandmother, but as a woman." It breaks the mold of invisible aging. Why are older women expected to fade quietly into the background? Short hair, especially pixies, edgy bobs or even buzz cuts, isn't just stylish, it's disruptive in the best way. It says I'm still here, I'm still bold, and I'm done with being invisible. Take Jane Fonda. At 85, she still stuns the red carpet with a perfectly sculpted, voluminous shortcut. She once said, "I don't do this for attention. I do it because it makes me feel alive." A 2022 L'Oreal USA study showed that 78% of women 60 plus felt more confident after switching to a short modern haircut. Not because it made them younger, but because it helped them reconnect with the person they'd been all along. Now ask yourself, if you weren't worried about what people thought, how would you really want to wear your hair? What's stopping you from stepping into your power, even if it's just with a pair of scissors? What comes next? If you've ever wondered whether short hair might be for you, if you've ever looked in the mirror and thought, "This woman deserves something different," then maybe this is your moment. Because in the next part of this journey, I'll walk you through 7 timeless short hairstyles designed for women over 60. Styles that highlight your features, embrace your age with grace, and still say, "I have no intention of fading quietly." Ready to meet the haircut that could change everything? Let's find out. After 60, your hairstyle isn't just a look, it's a statement. It's not about hiding age. It's about owning it. Boldly, beautifully, unapologetically. Whether your hair's thinning, your tastes have evolved, or you're simply craving a fresh start, the right short haircut can do more than refresh your image. It can help you reconnect with who you truly are. Here are 7 short styles that have not only transformed appearances, but lives from real women I've worked with across all walks of life. 1. The pixie cut. Powerful, elegant, and fearless. Let's start with the classic the pixie. Short, smart, and undeniably bold, the pixie cut is perfect for women with slender features and a graceful neckline. But what it really suits best is attitude. It highlights your cheekbones, your eyes, your smile, the parts of you that radiate story and strength. Best for women who want a low-maintenance, high-impact look. Think silver or pastel pink tones for extra flair. Client story. After my husband passed, I felt invisible. I wore my hair long and tied back for years. But one day, I cut it all off into a silver pixie. At my granddaughter's birthday, people kept asking, "Who's the stunning woman over there?" That night, I didn't feel like a widow anymore. I felt like me again. Ask yourself, have you ever wondered what would happen if you finally let go of the long hair you've had for decades? What if cutting it was actually the beginning of something new too? The layered bob, a lifesaver for fine hair. If your hair has gotten thinner over the years, join the club. The layered bob is one of the best tricks in the book for adding natural volume and bounce. Strategic layers create movement and shape, while highlights, like amber or smoky violet, give dimension and personality. Style tip: blow dry with a round brush. Flip the ends slightly under and use lightweight mousse to hold the volume without stiffness. Personal moment: I gave my mother this haircut for her 64th birthday. And when we went out for dinner, someone asked if we were sisters. She smiled for the rest of the night. Ask yourself, is your hair falling flat lately? Would you like a style that makes you feel full of life, and maybe even a little younger without trying too hard? 3. Neck length cut with wispy bangs. Soft, subtle, timeless. There's something quietly beautiful about this cut. It gently hugs the neck, flatters round faces and soft jawlines, and gives just enough movement without being too fussy. Add in soft, wispy bangs, and you've got a style that looks thoughtful kind and graceful, just like the women who wear it. Perfect for women who prefer a subtle, polished look with a touch of romantic charm. Client quote: I didn't want to look trendy. I just wanted to look like the best version of me. This style gave me that. Ask yourself, are you drawn to simplicity and softness over bold trends? Do you want a haircut that whispers confidence instead of shouting for attention? 4. Edgy tapered cut for the bold and fashion-forward. This one's for the rebels, the women who refuse to be boxed in by age rules or outdated expectations. With sharp lines, tapered sides, and a little lift on top, this cut brings instant drama. It pairs perfectly with platinum or smoky grey tones, and even better with bold lipstick and a wink. Client transformation. After open-heart surgery at 72, I needed to feel alive again. I chopped off everything and went platinum grey. I walked into my daughter's house and her jaw dropped. She said, "Mum, you look like a rock star." And for once, I felt like one. Pro tip: use a styling wax to shape and texture your look in under 5 minutes. Ask yourself, have you ever wanted to try a haircut that completely breaks the mold? One that says, I've still got fire in me. 5. French-inspired soft curls. Elegant, flirty, effortless. This look is like a linen dress in summer light, romantic and timeless. Loose, soft curls around the ears and nape give off a Parisian vibe, especially when paired with a stylish pair of glasses or a silk scarf. Best with medium to thick hair and natural wave. Add some copper or dark chocolate tones for depth. Client vibe. This cut makes me feel like I'm sipping espresso at a French cafe, even when I'm just watering the garden. Ask yourself, have you ever considered a hairstyle that isn't about hiding wrinkles, but about embracing elegance with joy? 6. Japanese-inspired bob. Polished, poised, and proud, simple. Clean. Powerful. This short bob shaped in a slight A-line gives structure and dignity without trying too hard. The ends curve gently inward to frame the face, and the bangs stay light and airy. Best for Asian facial features, or anyone who loves refined minimalist style. Think dark brown or soft black for color. What my client said, with this haircut, I didn't need to raise my voice. People just listened. Ask yourself, do you gravitate towards quiet confidence? Do you want a look that instantly earns respect, not by force, but by grace? 7. Buzz cut or undercut. The ultimate act of freedom. This one isn't for everyone, but for those who dare, it's life-changing. A buzz cut or undercut strips away years of expectation and weight, leaving only your truest, rawest self. It's daring, it's clean, and above all, it's honest. Client breakthrough. I've spent my whole life being someone's wife, someone's mum, someone's grandmother. When I buzzed my hair at 60, it was the first time I looked in the mirror and saw me. No roles, just me. Styling note pair with statement earrings or a bold lip. Let your face take center stage. Ask yourself if you weren't afraid of what people might think. Would you try it? What if this wasn't just a haircut, but a full-on rebirth? Final notes for all styles. Fine hair go layered or texturized. Thick hair. Try soft curls or stacked bob styles. Fair skin. Cool shades. Like silver icy lavender or platinum. Look great. Warmer skin. Amber chestnut and warm tones shine. No matter what, hydrate your hair weekly, protect colored strands, and use lightweight styling products to keep things fresh, not stiff. What's next? Now that you've explored the options, maybe one spoke to you, or maybe you're ready to take the next step and ask your stylist, can we talk about a change? Because hair isn't just hair. Not after 60, it's courage. It's expression. And sometimes, it's the first step toward the woman you've always wanted to be. For many women over 60, hair isn't just hair, it's memory, it's identity. And when the time is right, it becomes transformation. Here are 3 powerful stories from women who reclaimed their voice, their confidence, and their light, all starting with one haircut. Martha, 64. From grief to grace. Martha had worn her hair long for decades. After her husband passed away, she kept it that way as a quiet tribute to him. But as the years passed, so did her spirit. She stopped attending family events, avoided mirrors, and slowly faded into the background of her own life. Until one day her daughter gently asked Mom, "How about we do something different? Just your hair as a start?" Martha agreed. She went for a soft silver pixie, short, simple, and elegant. It framed her cheekbones, lifted her eyes, and did something even more important. It gave her permission to come back to herself. At her granddaughter's birthday party, people didn't recognize her at first, and when they did, they couldn't stop complimenting her. "I didn't cut my hair to look younger," she said. "I cut it to feel alive again." According to the American Psychological Association 2022, 46% of women over 60 experience mild depression after the loss of a spouse or major life change. Small shifts like a new haircut or color have been shown to boost emotional well-being by up to 30%. Reflection for the listener. Have you ever lost someone and felt yourself slowly disappearing too? What would it feel like to do something, even something small? Just for you. Linda, 70. From invisible to icon. Linda, a retired teacher living in a senior community in Oregon, used to believe fashion was for the young. She wore the same hairstyle for nearly 2 decades and often said, "At my age, who's looking anyway?" That changed when her teenage granddaughter visited with a wild idea. "Grandma, let's give you a makeover. I want to post you on TikTok." Linda laughed, but she went along with it. The result? A layered bob with caramel highlights, a bold pair of glasses, and the kind of confidence you can't fake. The video over 1.2 million views. People didn't just see an old woman, she said, smiling. They saw someone still full of life. A 2023 AARP study found that 61% of women over 65 feel invisible in social situations. But women who actively express their personal style through hair makeup or clothes report triple the levels of confidence and connection. Reflection for the listener. Do you sometimes feel like you're fading into the background? What if one change could make the world look at you and you see yourself differently? Rosie, 61. Healing after cancer. Rosie was once known for her thick, wavy, dark brown hair. Then came the cancer diagnosis. And then the hair loss. She tried scarves, wigs, hats, but nothing felt right. So one day, standing in front of the mirror, she picked up a pair of clippers and shaved off the little that remained. I couldn't control cancer, but I could take back this moment, she said. When her treatment ended, Rosie didn't grow her hair back out. She kept it short, a white silver buzz cut that she wore with hoop earrings and red lipstick. I'm not hiding, she told her support group. I survived. And this is what survival looks like. A 2021 study in Cancer Survivorship Journal found that 81% of female cancer survivors struggled with their self-image post-treatment. But those who made active choices to reclaim their appearance, even something as small as a haircut, experienced a 48% boost in self-esteem in the first 3 months of recovery. Reflection for the listener. Have you ever had to rebuild your identity after a health crisis or trauma? Could something as simple as a haircut help you start again stronger? The common thread. Martha, Linda, Rosie. Different lives, different styles, but one shared truth. They didn't change their hair to be seen as younger. They changed it to be seen as themselves. Because after 60, beauty is not about reversing time, it's about claiming space. It's about rewriting your story. And sometimes that story begins with a pair of scissors. Somewhere along the way, society started whispering a lie. That beauty belongs to the young. That femininity has an expiration date. That your hair after a certain age should be appropriate, modest, and most of all, invisible. But here's the truth. Hair doesn't age. Hair expresses. And expression, that only grows richer with time. Breaking the rules of age. Appropriate hair for decades. Women have been fed the idea that there's a right way to wear your hair depending on your age. Long hair is for the young and vibrant. Short hair is for the elderly and practical. Bold colors. Leave that to the 20-somethings. But more and more women over 60 are rewriting that narrative. They're cutting their hair, not because they have to, but because they choose to. Not to fade into the background, but to stand in their truth. According to the L'Oreal Age Inclusive Beauty Report 2022, 72% of women over 60 feel pressured to dress or style their hair in a way that's age appropriate, even if it doesn't align with who they really are. One of my clients, Miss H, age 65, dyed her hair a soft lavender grey for the first time last year. When someone asked if she was trying to be young, she smiled and said, "No, I'm just done trying to disappear." Let me ask you, have you ever held back from trying a hairstyle because it didn't fit your age? What if, instead of worrying about looking younger, you focused on looking more the you? Hair doesn't define gender, it defines freedom. Hair doesn't belong to gender norms. Hair doesn't play by ladylike rules. Hair is a personal revolution, especially when you're older and braver than you've ever been. I once met a woman, 73, silver buzz-cut linen shirt, bold earrings, who told me she'd never felt more feminine in her life. People think I'm making a statement, she laughed. But really, I'm just finally not apologizing. According to the Global Aging Beauty Index 2023, 60% of women over 60 who experimented with non-traditional styles, shaved sides, undercuts, bold colors, said they felt more liberated and more like themselves than they had in decades. How about you? What style have you always wanted to try but were too afraid of being judged for? What if the only person you needed permission from was your self-beauty is a state of mind, not a strand of hair? People ask all the time, is short hair still feminine? Can grey hair be sexy? Isn't a pixie cut too harsh for an older woman? But here's the truth. Beauty isn't in the length of your hair, it's in the way you carry yourself. You can have long flowing hair and feel invisible. Or you can rock a buzz cut and turn heads in every room you enter. Because beauty is not about the cut. It's about the confidence behind it. A neighbor of mine recently recovering from chemo once looked at her reflection and said, I may have lost my hair, but I finally see myself. That's not just beauty. That's freedom. That's waking up seeing your reflection and thinking, yes, that's me. And I love her. So I'll leave you with this. When was the last time you looked in the mirror and truly recognized the woman staring back? Was she who you wanted to be, or who the world told you to be? Coming up next. Once you break free of outdated norms and start living with intention, the next step is to keep that freedom alive every day. Because hair is more than strands. It's memory. It's energy. It's the quiet, powerful language of becoming. Up next, Chapter 5, The Art of Maintenance. How to keep short hair, vibrant and alive. After 60, let's talk tools. Tips and rituals that don't just maintain your style, they nurture your spirit. As we age, the world often tries to make us smaller. Wear less, say less, take up less space. But here's the truth. No one tells you. You were never meant to fade. You were meant to evolve, to shine in new ways, not in spite of your age, but because of it. And that evolution. Sometimes it starts with something as simple as a haircut. Short hair doesn't make you less feminine. It makes you more clear, bold, and unapologetically present. It doesn't erase your past. It honors it while giving you the power to write your next chapter on your own terms. I've seen it again and again the moment a woman sees her reflection with a new style, a new color, a new confidence, and whispers, there I am. That's not vanity. That's coming home to yourself. So if there's one message I want to leave you with today, it's this. Growing older doesn't make you invisible. Giving up on yourself does. Cutting your hair, changing your style, that's when you choose yourself again. And choosing yourself never goes out of style. Ready to take the first step? Try a new hairstyle. One you've always admired but never dared to try. Save a photo, bring it to your stylist. Watch the transformation unfold. And if you've already walked this path, share your story with us. Because out there somewhere, another woman is quietly asking herself, could I really do this? Let her see your courage, and maybe she'll find her own.